Hey guys, it's Paradise, and we actually got some more official trailers today going over both the focus mode in a bit more detail, showing some really cool things, including a sneak peek at the longsword and gun lance and a bit of SNS gameplay, as well as a basic mechanics video, which actually does show some interesting things as well as some very top level basics, but there was some juicy things in there like the UI, showing the minimap and stuff like that. So there's quite a lot of stuff to go over and highlight that's pretty exciting if you're as excited for Wilds as we are. So drop a like and comment to let us know what you think of all of this information as we go through, because there's a lot to talk about. So firstly, we can talk about how focus mode actually works. This, of course, is a new mode that lets you more precisely aim both your guards and attacks to a monster or a certain part of the monster. This gives you an easy way to rotate your camera towards a monster or a particular limb in order to attack or guard against something coming your way, and it's possibly a way to snap to a monster even when facing the wrong way, making it situationally very useful, especially if you're caught off guard or your character's facing the wrong way, or like you can see here, you're charging a slash and you need to turn like 180 degrees to hit it. You can see that the crosshair will appear in the middle of the screen when you're in focus mode, and this has a sort of pseudo critical distance similar to how bowguns function, letting you know when you're aiming at or within range of the monster. We also got to see a little bit of sword and shield gameplay that looks pretty smooth as you do your slide attack and rotate around the monster in a kind of backstab fashion, making that moveset for the SNS really satisfying with focus mode. Now, I won't actually say this out loud, but you can see the tweet here, and after reading this from Gaijin, I can't unsee it for this scene. But to move on very quickly, we can see in this next part that focus mode actually lets you execute moves towards the crosshairs regardless of where your character is facing, allowing you to more effectively guard even if you have your back to the monster as long as you are aimed at it in focus mode, which is going to be super useful. Then we can see the wounding mechanic in a bit more detail. Continuously attacking the same part of a monster will cause a wound to appear, of course making it easier to do with focus mode as you can direct your attacks to the same spot. Wounds will then be highlighted in a sort of red glowing effect while you're within that focus mode, and doing attacks to the wound will also give you a separate damage icon, and this might actually be the first time they have showed damage numbers, as I can't remember it being in any of the previous trailers. It was obviously a big thing in Monster Hunter World when damage numbers were there, so this kind of confirms it is back. The 4 dots in the corner of the damage number show that you're hitting a wound, similar to a kind of weak point hit. But a super interesting thing that I love about this focus mode is that it doesn't just highlight the wounds in red, but also monsters' weak points like the tongue, for example, here on this Chupacabra, which is just really nice that now you can visually see those super weak points that you want to go for. Then we need to talk about the actual new focus strikes, as they really treated us with a sneak peek at the longsword and gunlance's focus strike move, but only for like a literal second. For the longsword's new focus strike move, we see a vertical slash attack, which I don't remember being present in World and Rise. This looks very samurai in style and appears to have the red glow on the strike, which could mean that it charges your spirit level too. For the gun lance, we can see the new focus strike move, which appears to be a super quick worm stake style impale, as for a split second at the end you can see the stake is lodged into the monster. Now, focus strikes are special types of attacks that deal extra damage to wounds and weak points, and we also got to see the bowgun with a possible showcase of its new focus strike, which is a kind of mini charged wyvern blast. But then we have the new basic mechanics trailer, which if you don't know the basic mechanics, it's going to be very handy. And I know a lot of people are going to benefit from watching this one, as sometimes those SOSs with randoms get pretty dicey. It starts off with a rather obvious point. You have your 2 weapon states when you're sheathed and drawn, of course giving you a more purposeful feel to the gameplay of when you actually pull out your weapon to go after that monster. It's good to note that you do move faster while sheathed and you can use items, although I expect you can still use items with the sword and shield out as it was in previous titles. It's really cool to see the details and physics of the little dangly bits on the greatsword, perhaps similar to how weapon charms were. But then there was an explanation of the secret mount, which of course we'll use for travel, and it can auto-guide us to quest markers, just generally making our life a lot easier while exploring, as they are now going for a bigger, more seamless world. It does appear like there will be a lot to discover, and we can even see some glowing bugs in the background, possibly indicating there's something interesting there. But next is something very exciting, a first look at the game's new HUD, which does appear to be more minimal than before. We can also see the mount tracking a monster, which has both marked the monster on the screen and there's scout flies guiding us there. Furthermore, we can see the minimap in the corner, which actually has the zone's number, which in this instance is 1, as well as the monster's icon with the distance above it being shown. The minimap is definitely more 3D than before, and it's littered with icons of things to pick up and collect. While you are mounted, it's good to know you can heal and sharpen, and even gather items while mounted. You can also switch between your primary and secondary weapon, which is a new system in Monster Hunter Wilds, allowing for some very interesting combos. Another cool detail though is the possibility of a forest biome in the background beyond the mountains, as it does look like there's trees there. Then they highlighted the hook slinger, and this zoom in does actually show us a good look at the carving knife up close as well. The hook slinger is basically going to allow you to use it as a slinger when you gather ammo from the environment, and it also lets you gather materials from a distance, so you can use that hook slinger to pick up things like herbs, not just ammo. It can also interact with the environment to knock things down, and while mounted, you can also use your hook slinger to gather things from a distance, which, as a serial collector of items, I am really excited about this gathering from a distance. It is a small thing, but I'm actually really happy about it. What's your favorite new feature that they've showed here? Is it the new minimap, the new UI, perhaps it's the new focus mode, or the new longsword move? Tell us your thoughts down below, and here are both of these new overviews for you to check out in their full glory if you still want to see more.